Memorial Day weekend edition. It's always cool to use the teachings of A Course in Miracles, to kind of look at different holidays. I do enjoy these holidays, even though most of the times I'm not keeping track of when these holidays are. I feel like as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, professional, like every day is kind of the same. And holidays, like if I was working for somebody, I probably would know. If I was going to school, Memorial Day weekend, I'd be like, yeah, I know it's coming. This just kind of snuck up on me. I'm like, wait, what? What's going on this weekend? Um, yeah. So, okay. Today we are gonna begin with the topic on remembering. So, I didn't know it was Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. We're gonna the topic on remembering, like what is remembering. The course talks about remembering, implying that we've once known already. And so what is it that we are remembering? Hello, welcome. And the course always says, and is always reminding us, that we are this we are this spiritual being that is unlimited by this world, and it is beyond the illusions. It is beyond the illusions that we see already in this world. So, oh, my wife skis on. Awesome. And so the course focuses a lot on forgiveness and love and transcending the illusions. So today, on Memorial Day, we can we can begin to uh remember, like, how to honor, how to extend love, remembering love, extending love. We can let go of grievances. We can embrace forgiveness. Um, and then remembering the eternal nature of life, the eternal nature of ourselves, that it isn't just the physical. See, as we can remember that we aren't just the physical body itself, right? And all of our conflicts really come from, like, this experience of the body and what the body receives, the pain and the love and all these different things. But we are eternal spirits, right? Extension of God, extension of holiness. And so can we remember today to choose peace over conflict? Choosing peace over conflict, knowing that peace is what we really want. Of all the things that we strive to attain in this physical world, can we remember that peace is what we want? All right. So, um, honoring, all the people that served in the military today, in the past, right? And those who have, fought for freedom, we can extend our love and gratitude to all beings, right? Because if we can remember, like, let's say one group of people in the military, the course always says use it to create collective unity, interconnectedness of all beings. The thought of love and um the thought of love and the thought of forgiveness and the thought of, um I guess, love. Anytime we have that, anytime we have gratitude, we can always use it and extend it to all the other things. And so how can we recognize the interconnectedness of humanity today? By honoring people that served in the military, but more than that, extend this to all beings. Right? Can we extend our gratitude? Can we extend our love? Through the honoring of today, Memorial Day, can we extend that to all beings, especially all those that are serving now and their families, right? Because so many people that have served in the military, come back out either with some sort of PTSD or something. Not everybody comes back normal, right? And there are, so many people that are homeless in all the big cities. They all are vets. So crazy. So crazy that we just, we have them serve our country, risk their lives, and then abandon them. So, how far can we extend this honoring and love today? Right? That's for each one of us to sit for a minute and contemplate. Like, if we can take a minute out of our busy day, it's a weekend that nobody's doing anything, gathering with family members. But before all the hustle and bustle and all the, you know, the the mingling that happens, take a minute and a couple moments for yourself to think about extending love, to honor the people that have served in the military, to honor all the people that are, struggling also, like extending our love outwards to all beings, using this holiday for holiness. That holiness will be you individually having miracle moments, right? Just taking a couple moments to reflect. And a lot of times, you know, the Memorial Day could evoke emotions. It could evoke emotions of loss. It could evoke emotions of war and conflict. So people will have different interpretations of, anything that has to do with the military. So instead of creating this split and this divide, having a judgment today of what is Memorial Day for me? Some people are like, Memorial Day means nothing to me. Others think, have an experience that Memorial Day means everything, especially those that served in the military and are affected by war, right? So today also is a day that can serve to let go of any grievances, right? Because some people may think, oh my God, here's another holiday that the US is using to capitalize something, or it's a remembering of all the war and the atrocities that happens in the world. And then others are like, no, these are the people that served, risked their lives to give you the freedom, and then conflict happens from everything. So instead of choosing a side today, let's let go of any grievances. And then can we extend that to all the stuff that is going to show up for us today, especially when family members get together? Where is there conversations where we're choosing sides? Let's let go of grievances of all of that. So embrace forgiveness. Again, the course talks about forgiveness, which is let me let go of any thoughts of division. Let me let go of any past judgments that I may have, that I forgive myself and I forgive whatever happened. That I go beyond it. I release the grievances that I have around it. So today, let's choose healing. Let's choose healing in all contexts, and that could be part of the silent moment that you may have with yourself. That let me heal whatever shows up today. Let me heal my own mind. Hello. And yeah, so what else? What else? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? How's everyone doing this weekend? Let's see what's being posted. Hey, what's up? Welcome.
Thanks. I just wanted to say how much I appreciated that opening. These holidays can be challenging for me because a lot of times it's like I see there's, yeah, we get to honor people who serve, and I also see aggrandizement of the industrial military complex and of war and of all of that. And so you coming in and like laying it out, like how can we take everything and move away from division and towards love and unity. Really appreciate it. That's like such a beautiful perspective, and also touching upon all the sensitivities around it. So thank you for that. Really.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for reinstating that point, because I used to be so angry with like our country. I used to like blame everything. I used to have this conspiracy mindset all the time. Anything the government ever did, any holidays there ever was, I'm like, what's the agenda behind it? What are they promoting? And there was a conflict inside me that created anger, created these grievances. So I'm very well aware of that, that a lot of people will have those feelings and no judgments about it, right? And it's all the letting go of the grievances. Like, okay, let's stepping into love, letting go of all the stories that I hold today, all the judgments that I may hold against others, and governments and militaries and all of that. Like, everybody and everything has God in it. God is operating through all of it. If I have judgments against it, I must be saying that, no, God is not in this. God is in me right now. And I recognize that God is not there. And just the insanity of that, right? The insanity of our mind, just saying like, this is the way it is. And all of that, really, the Course says, it stems from our own feeling of inadequacy and our own fears about, like, if we are provided for in life. Can I always be trusting? That's why we're always planning, and we're always trying to have this done and that done, trying to create our own life in a certain way. We're like, let me design the curriculum of my own life. Rather, last week we talked about aligning our career with spirituality, is allowing the curriculum to unfold in our life instead of trying to create the curriculum. Right? Like, this is our life is challenging. We create challenges for ourselves. It's insane. And then we lose our mind and we lose our peace and we forget all the things that are great in our lives. And when we go down each one of those rabbit holes, like if you go down the rabbit hole of like stress and worry and, this is not good enough, you lose sight of the other world. I always say the vision of one world, the vision of one thinking, costs you the vision of the other. And if we are in blame, if we are thinking about, what the military is pushing and using this holiday to kind of like create their own agenda, we lose the loving side. We lose the sight of love that could be in today's holiday. I used to do that. I used to, Thanksgiving, especially Thanksgiving. I lived in my fraternity house. My mom moved back to Taiwan. So on Thanksgiving, I would be by myself. It was me and my dog. And in Newark, New Jersey, where I was, nothing was open on Thanksgiving. And so I would actually be like starving. I'm like, I can't even eat. Like, if I forget to like on different Thanksgivings, when I forget to bring food or get food earlier in the day or the day before, and I lived in a fraternity house, there's not even a place to cook anything, right? So like our kitchen was like so not functional, and I didn't cook, so I didn't even want to mess with it. I would just kind of like starve on Thanksgiving. And then I would be like, what kind of bullshit holiday is this? Like, and I would find all the reasons not to celebrate it and to kind of bad and wrong and shame people that are celebrating. Right. And when I focus on that thinking, though, there is nothing great that I can focus on. I lose sight of the family gatherings. It's just a reason for people to gather and for people to heal, that they can heal. There's an opportunity for healing. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about how, this is just another holiday to make money and all this. And of course, I also had this thing about making money, how they're just trying to use something to make money. And because I had those thoughts, money would always leave me. Because underneath that, Like I inside, I'm like, oh, there's something wrong about someone using this to make money. Where I had this conflict about money. I had the conflict about holidays. There's just so much conflict in me, and no wonder I was such an angry kid. You know, I remember I used to. Oh my god, I can't even say some of the stories. It's just so nuts. Like I must have been insane at that point. Some of the conflicts I would get into and the fights. So, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Anybody else want to share or say anything?
Yeah, Alex, Antoine here.
Hey.
Thank you for hosting. So as you were mentioning earlier, in some cases when you have loss, it's a painful experience to try to remember what happened. And so for those of us who maybe block things out and don't want to process the emotions, and you make some comments about maybe why it's not healthy to maybe block, or if it is healthy, I don't know. But what is the importance of allowing yourself to go through that emotional roller coaster, and maybe what are the best practices we should keep in mind when you go through that process?
Yeah. So here, what you're sharing with me kind of opens up another conversation that my wife and I had. And it was, she said, "Hey, are you happy in this relationship right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, why are you?" and she's like, "Yeah, of course, but I want you to always be honest with me if you're not happy, if we're not happy with or if you're not happy with the relationship." I'm like, even if I'm not happy with the relationship in that moment, that doesn't say anything about our relationship itself. All it speaks to is my experience right now. So first, to remember that when you experience something, it does not make something mean anything. It just means that in this moment, you're experiencing it. See, what we do is we become those experiences. So, whatever you do experience, Antoine, just make sure that you create a separation, a distinction between I am experiencing that right now, not I am that. Because if you say I am that, you're going to carry that to a future moment, which may not be the case, but because you think it, you manifest it, you create it in that moment. All right. So, first, to become a witness to the feelings that you're feeling. Yeah, I'm feeling sad right now. Yeah, I'm feeling judgmental right now. But we want to give our future moments a chance to be a new moment. That means I have to first create the separation, the distinction, separation, create the distinction that the judgment, whatever I have, I'm not that. And that isn't the truth. It's just what I'm feeling right now. And when we say that this is what I'm feeling right now, we're also implying that I can feel something different in a different right now, in a different, and then another and another. So we give it chances, right? We create that distinction. And then also to realize that what is it for? What is it all for? What am I feeling this for? What am I valuing that is valueless? Okay, so think about that for a second. We don't do anything if we don't find value in it. We don't think anything if we don't find value in it. There is value in acting out. There's value for us. It's a perceived value. It isn't the truth. There is a perceived value in getting angry for us. We get something. When we get angry, it's conditioned for us that if we get angry, something happens that I may have a perceived moments of control, moments of being right. And then, so those are the things that I value. I value control. I value being right. I value my righteousness. See, we got to go down like the feelings and the emotions itself is pointing to something that you valued that doesn't have value. It doesn't have the value that you think it does. Being right and being in control doesn't actually give you what you think it does. So pointing to those things, like all of those are lessons for us. The emotions, the feelings that comes up, you know, I don't know. It doesn't, I thought I was going to get some satisfaction out of it. I thought it would bring me more peace and more happiness by judging something, by being right about something. And then really all that does is create more conflict. So Memorial Day, how can we, what are we remembering? Right, there's all sorts of things we can remember. Let me remember peace over conflict today. I want peace. I value peace. Can the remembering of people's lives, see, here's one. Can we remember war and the lives lost in war as a reminder of peace? If we see war as conflict, if we judge war, then the vision of conflict will cost you the vision of peace. So that's another moment of contemplation that we can have. War, can it serve as a reminder of the importance of peace? The importance of me acting peacefully, the importance of me remembering peace. See, it can. It can. But it won't as long as you're in the judgment side and as long as you hold grievances in your mind and as long as you embrace grievances. We embrace these things because it has some sort of value that is illusionary. So the Course always teaches us all these different ways to go beyond the illusions. Beyond it. So, what you guys think? Anybody?
I can share an experience I had yesterday
Good. I was waiting.
that brought up conflict for me. It was so interesting because it really put together everything that I've been practicing and noticing in my life. And so my parents own a real a convenience store. And so I went by yesterday, it's Memorial Day weekend. It's in a hotel. So it was pretty packed and I went to have coffee. And as I was standing there, I see a gentleman grab a pack of Coronas, a 12-pack of Coronas, put it on the floor by the door. And already immediately, and I noticed this after the fact, I didn't notice it in the moment, that I was already watching, and thinking, what is this guy going to do with the 12-pack of Coronas? He's not going to pay for it. He placed it by the door next to the cash register. So he waited, and in fact, I was right about it. He waited, and somebody was paying, and then as he saw the gentleman leave, he grabbed the pack of Corona and was walking through the door with it. So I immediately said to him, "Excuse me, are you planning on paying for that 12-pack of Coronas?" And he said, "Oh, I was just calling on my wife who's outside so that she can pay for it." So he later proceeded to come back into the store, and there was conflict and there was an argument, and I noticed after the fact how triggered I was by that, and how I in my life, go into this like judgment and blaming, and it was just so interesting because it brought up all these things for me. It's like, oh, no wonder, like I lived in Argentina. One of the reasons why we moved, it was because it was perceived as dangerous at the time, and all the businesses my parents had, and it was like this idea, like that was so real for me growing up. And so then I later on went to law school, wanted to become a prosecutor. And, it's like really funny to me now because I'm like thinking, geez, like this is the conflict that's inside my mind, and no wonder, like that's what I'm seeing and how I approached it. So after the fact, I kind of, I did my work in the Course of Miracles, and I noticed, but at the moment, I was very much triggered, and yeah, so I'm like in the practice of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to look back at our lives to see how we made all the choices. Right? It's like I was in the mind, I want to prosecute people, be a prosecutor, and just hoping that if you prosecuted somebody and righted some wrong, that it will bring you peace. But what you will find in that field is that there will be a never ending of prosecutions. And all you focus on is the prosecuting of people. And it doesn't bring any peace to you. So on some level, you've been on this journey of transformation, and it's always brought you like away from it to something that is bringing people together instead, and you're attracted to the Course because it's speaking to you. So this is something that's important for all of us to remember today, is that the true nature of who we are is always there inside us. We will recognize truth. When we see truth, we will recognize it. It will draw us to it. But can we have the courage and the clarity and the confidence to walk it when it comes? Right? When it shows up, when I have an intuition that this is the path, this is the right person to be with, this is the right teacher, this is the right career path. Can we have the courage to step into the unknown and letting something go? Now, Wendy used the word sacrifice, okay, which there's nothing wrong with it. However, when we think about sacrificing, it will bring something up later. Just the word itself. Like parents say, how much I sacrifice for you, right? Maybe in the moment it is out of love. I love my kids so much, I'm willing to sacrifice. But because I use the word sacrifice, and I think in terms of sacrificing, that I lose because you gain, right? Sacrificing really in our world means I lose and you gain. I'm going to sacrifice my life so you can gain this. So when we think about sacrificing, it will generate conflict in the future because there will be resentments. Now, this is not to say this is what you're thinking, Wendy, but the sacrifice of the people who were in the front lines and gave up their lives, right? The thought of that sacrifice makes me honor them. It makes me seem like there's an honoring that's happening. But what happens when somebody else goes, nah, who cares about those people? All of a sudden, because you have this idea that they gave their life for you, you're going to get into a conflict. You will start a war now yourself, right? Instead of just, can I be, and I'm not saying you're going to do this, Wendy, but I'm just saying in general, the word sacrifice. When a parent thinks that they've sacrificed for their kids and their kids grow up and shows no appreciation, war, right? Between the mom and the kid, or the dad and the kid. You know how much I sacrificed for you? You don't appreciate my all the things I've sacrificed, that I gave up my life to have you. Now we think we want to project guilt, right? Because we want to be right. Being right, and we will go to all ends to be right. To be right about the way we have something. And so like letting those things go. Like letting all the value that we think being right has something. And when we can let that go, when we make a mistake, instead of making excuses, we can simply say, hey, I'm sorry. Sorry, I made a mistake. Right? And even if they don't take it in the moment, you can still, like, genuinely, instead of making excuses and being right, I made a mistake. And then allow the relationship, and then give it over to God. Allow it to create miracles in that relationship. and trusting that spirit that flows through me, the spirit that would say, I'm sorry, to the spirit that is receiving that I'm sorry, with no excuses behind it, that it will transmute this energy and create a miracle in this moment. Right? So like we've all done something wrong. And when we do something wrong, we try to make excuses. Right? Like so many times my wife and I get into like a debate, and I would say something or she would say something, and when we apologize, it comes with a but after it. And it's just funny. We always do. But if you just didn't do that next time, but if you can just consider this, like, I'm sorry for how I was, but if you can just consider how you got me there, it's like, whoa, is that a real apology? What was that? Or was that like an apology with a grenade behind it? Right? So we all do that. It's like, I'm sorry, no buts, no excuses. Yeah, I'm just what I bring up is just the word sacrifice itself. The course talks a lot about the word sacrifice, and so you brought it up. I wanted to continue that conversation. If it instills love in you and you see that there's love, awesome. If it creates conflict, then we can look at it. Anytime there's anger, we are trying to project shame, guilt into anger, and we accept shame. Yeah. See, the thing that we don't really see is that anytime that we attack, we only attack ourselves. When we attack and judge others, we actually diminish the holy being that we are. That somehow I am weak enough, or I have inadequacies that these things trigger me. Right? And we did this transformational training, and there was something that was so powerful to me in this ropes course that we did. We did this like ropes course, and this man Dan Miller, awesome guy. He literally said, because everybody gets triggered over little things, but we must make something real for it to be triggering for us. Because if somebody said, you're not I remember specifically the trigger that I got from one of my team members, because I was always kind of outspoken and I'm always like thinking that I'm right about something. And literally one of my teammates, and this is perfect because triggered me greatly to the point where I flipped out and I was about to buy a ticket to fly to Florida from New Jersey to go to his house and fight him. Like that's what I was going to do. I was like, let him say that to me again. He said something like, I don't know what he said. He left all the groups that I was in, the little groups, and then said, dude, you're not the leader that you think you are, bro. And oh my God. There must be a little boy inside me that wants to be a leader that I don't think I'm good enough to be. So that would actually trigger me. Now, Dan at Ropes said something that was crazy, like that just landed for me so much. It was like, all right, well, imagine you're wearing you're wearing a black shirt right now. Okay. If I said, dude, Alex, that red shirt that you're wearing right now is super ugly. Like you would have no reaction to be like, I'm not wearing a red shirt. Okay. Like whatever. You think I'm wearing a red shirt, I'm wearing a black shirt. See, it wouldn't trigger me, but it's the same thing. Oh, you're not the leader that you think you are. All of a sudden now I lose my shit. Right? So like all the triggers just show us the stories that we've made up. Can we see it all as, oh, you're just saying I'm wearing a white shirt when I'm wearing a black shirt. Like there's literally I don't even know how to react to that. Because I can't take offense to it. I'm like, all right, cool. See, because I know I'm wearing a black shirt, that doesn't offend me. If I know I am this eternal, beautiful being that is an extension of God, then anything that you can possibly say to me can't hurt me because I'm wearing a black shirt and you're saying I'm wearing a white shirt. Awesome. See you later. right? Like we can just neutrally let it go, and I don't hold on to it. It's like, oh man, somebody said I was wearing a white shirt today and I'm wearing a black shirt. I can't even make up anything about it. Because I'm like, wait, is he dumb or what's happening in this situation? Like, there's no offense that I take. Right. So I can just neutralize the situation. But even to today, I think some part of me still holding on to this guy saying that you're not the leader that you think you are. It might still bug me a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm trying so hard all the time. I have no idea. And this is just coming up as we're speaking right now. Totally forgot about it, but it came back, so it must still be real. God damn it. Just kidding. All right, Donna, go ahead.
Good morning. I want you to see where I'm at. Can you see my camper?
Yeah, awesome. Cool camper. I want one.
I think. So, war and thinking you're right and all of this stuff. I got triggered recently after Mother's Day. So that's the holiday that's kind of the hardest for me right now. And I get this text from my mother, and it basically started blaming her parents for not giving me what I wanted out of a relationship. And my mind went crazy. Like I sort of lost it. But I didn't respond because I know there's some other way I'm supposed to look at that. And it was again, there's no responsibility, in a way, deep in my heart, I guess I feel like there should be some, not blame, but, some responsibility for actions. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get peace out of this conversation. And I'm really kind of struggling. So anything you can advise would be very helpful.
Yes. So here's the thing. That is a setback for you. See, the Course says that all setbacks are temporary. And if you can access infinite patience, it will provide immediate results. Right? So here's a setback. I don't know when this setback is going to be corrected, but if I can access infinite patience in this moment, then peace will come to me this moment. I don't have that conflict because I know it's a setback. I don't know when it's coming, but I have the patience because my patience is infinite. So I access infinite patience to get immediate results. So I can access this forgiveness in this moment that I have infinite amount of patience for this to be corrected. That all setbacks are temporary, but I have to remember that setbacks are not permanent. Setbacks are temporary. And it's so funny because I take this book as you're speaking. I'm like, when someone is speaking about something, I feel like I want to find some quotes of motivation. I just pick up this book and I just open it. And of course, where do I open it? To the thing that speaks directly to what you're saying. Day 173. My disappointments are temporary setbacks. Anytime there might be an occurrence in which mistakes occur or sorrow results, yet for any wrong turn, there is an automatic recalibration within the mind of God. I need only be patient and wait for the perfect universe to make right again any path that have gone wrong. I will not allow my emotions today to fall into the valley of defeat because of a temporary setback. And all setbacks are temporary. My salvation lies not in the immediate change of circumstance, but in my ability to remain positive and optimistic during time of duress. God is the answer to every problem the moment the problem occurs, and I await cheerfully the miracle that is already always on its way. Dear God, I surrender to you a situation that disappoints and pray to be shown any aspect of my thinking that help cause my sorrow. Undo the consequences of any false belief that put the universe at odd with my joy, and thus I may be happy again. Amen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so perfect. Like, how is it's just miracles. Miracles are natural occurrences. This right here, what just transpired, is a miracle moment. Like, it's always a miracle. I'm always like, wow. Like, you ask a question, I open the book, and bam, like, all of our minds are blown. So, including me. I mean, I'm like almost tearing because of how cool that miracle was, right? So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Who else want to share anything? Who else want to create some miracle moments? So, yeah. Yeah, so if you look it up, it's called Marion Williamson's A Year of Miracles, day 173. It's a great reminder for today, knowing that all disappointments, all my conflicting thoughts are temporary. Even the thought that it's temporary actually brings us some peace, right? And then it's just a choice today that I'm not going to let 173 day 173. Mhm. So, yeah, the course never really directly addresses Memorial Day but we can take its teachings and guide ourselves in interpreting today. We talked about forgiveness, we talked about love, we talked about letting go of grievances. We talked about how all of our emotions and what we're feeling, they're temporary and they're not permanent, and how we can use them to right our thinking again, right? By extending love to all, by embracing forgiveness, by recognizing the eternalness of who we are inside. Like, deep inside all of us, within our hearts, we all know. We all know there's something more than just this body. We all know there's something more than just this physical world that we happen to be playing in every day. You know? So, yeah. Super cool. Let's see. Who's with us on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitch. I stream on Twitch because I want to try to influence some gamers. I am a gamer at heart as well. Let's see. What else we going to talk about today? Who else has any conflict that you want to share? Any disappointments that you want to heal? Huh? Natalie, thank you. Your other half was on the Zoom. My face looks very shiny because I got a facial. My wife gave me a facial. Put all sorts of different sprays and creams and hot things and cold things on my face. It was nice. And then gave me a face massage, which is my favorite. Making mistakes and setbacks through rushing things driven by anxiety. Yeah. I mean, anxiety itself, it's basically like worry. Like, we worry and we pray for the worst possible outcome. Like, we've been saying this the last couple of weeks. And it creates setbacks and creates mistakes because we rush into it with the wrong mind. Let's see what else we can be inspired by in this book. Oh, and you know what's cool? For 2 nights ago, uh, Love and I actually sat down and we dreamed about our future. We kind of we're trying to speak it into existence, and it was really cool because she was talking about how we're gonna have our kids and where they're gonna be and what they're gonna do, what they're gonna be like, and how she's gonna be as a mom, and you know just dreaming what they're like. So you know day 142, I allow my dreams to live today. I will not deflect, diminish, or invalidate my dreams today, or concoct excuses for why they can't happen. However outrageous they may seem to be, I allow them to live within me. Today, I will not limit my dreams. I honor the image of my deeper self and invite them to reveal to me the meaning of their message. I make a space within the temple of my mind for God, the dreamer of all of life, to dream his dreams through me. Dear God, may I not be restricted by my mortal mind, for in you all things are possible. May I not be limited by the thinking of the world or by the illusions of time and space. May the dreams that you would dream through me be not blocked by thoughts of fear. Amen. All right, so it's just the whole entire course is about allowing life, allowing God's intelligence, God's will to flow through you. And each of us just simply have to be an open channel for the wisdom to come, for the message to come, for the recognition of the curriculum to come. I'm at peace with my dad, an alcoholic. I resented that he was that way growing up. However, I realized he lost his best friend serving in the U.S. Army intelligence during the War of the Pacific, and find out his wife and son, my mom and brother, were put into an internment camp in Minidoka, Idaho. He never could give a reason. Perhaps I served as a naval reservist with the Pacific Detachment 322 Hawaii Pearl Harbor. I honor him and all the other vets that served, those who died serving our country and those who currently serve our country. Yeah. The honoring and remembering, those are good, and love brings everybody back. Like people that are alcoholics are calling for love, calling for acknowledgement, calling to be seen. See, they want to escape the world now. They want to escape this here, because being an alcoholic and being a drug addict and whatever, all the other addictions that we may have, is because the world is too painful and too scary to live fully present, to be fully present and living into. Now, a lot of us cope in different other ways. For me personally, when I'm super stressed, I play a lot of video games. That's my coping with the reality of the world. Like, let me go into a different world. So being an alcoholic is kind of the same. Growing up, he was absent since he was gone, being in the Navy. Yeah. And we can only pray for love and for the return to love. And I think when people can be seen, and it's really to see them, like beyond the drinking that's going on, right? We don't even need to address it. We don't need to participate in that part. I don't think people are proud of that themselves. They can learn the lessons themselves. We don't need to present it again, right? Like, oh, you have an alcoholic problem. Have you ever thought about your alcohol? I mean, this is how we punish others. We punish people by guilting them, thinking that it would have them do something different if we instill guilt. We do it to kids, do it to others, right? Instead of using fear, instead of using a stick to try to get people in line, like inspiring people to get in line, it's more effective. And to see the leader in them, to see that, hey, and right now I don't know why I have this picture is, somebody herding sheeps and they're using a stick to beat the sheeps back into place, or they inspire the sheep like, oh, you are so great as a leader right here. And then even when you're not looking, they will take the leadership of keeping everyone in line and not stray off all the other sheeps. I don't know. That's a picture in my mind right now. I don't know if it landed, maybe not, but it makes sense to me.
Landed. I used to have that stick.
Yeah. We all somewhat have that stick that we think if we use the stick, we can intimidate and beat people in line. And it never works. They're just going to look for a chance to escape or look for a chance to take that stick from you and beat you with it. Yeah. So, if we're doing that, we actually put ourselves into a lot of stress because we're like, oh, if I don't use fear, if I don't use my stick, if I go to rest, if I lay my head down, something's going to go wrong. I can't actually trust because I got to beat people in line. Like people that run their companies like that, right? They're under great stress all the time. They cannot sleep because they can't trust anybody. They can't go on vacation. They can't do anything besides holding this, control this place. And then they wonder why all of their relationships in life is all screwed up. Because you got to be able to, you get to practice trust with anyone, any person that comes into your space. Your business is not just your business. It's an opportunity to build trust and to build a right group of people around you. Not using fear. Nobody's going to stick around when you use fear. Fear is not inspiring. So, I don't know how I got there, but there we are.
Alex, Antoine, can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Just been listening the whole time, and one topic that I need some help with is the whole concept of celebration of life. And different traditions, right, have different practices, and so forth. And so I don't have anything, so I'm sort of trying to cope with the topic in terms of, so if you don't do anything and you don't even want to spend time to remember somebody or a loved one, right, you may have this sense of guilt, okay, everybody else is, getting together and remembering this person and you're not. The question I'm trying to ask is, as you look back in the past and a person's life and you're doing a celebration of life, you then have a choice to either remember the good stuff or the bad one. Typically, we at that particular moment, we want to be positive, so we only remember the positive things. Fast forward, right? I look at myself today and I'm like, shoot, all my paradigms are derivatives, right, of that person or that significant person that was in my life. And those paradigms also can be positive or negative, right? And so question here is a little bit about, what does the Course of Miracle, what is the miracle in this experience that I'm sharing? Drawing back in the past, realizing where I am today, who I am, and where's the miracle experience in that whole process?
Yeah, beautiful question. So it's amazing because we take the past and we define this moment with it. Like we have to do something with it. Literally, the reason why you remember the past is for you to let it go. It's for you to forgive it. Forgive if I thought of it as good and then it turned out bad, or I thought of it as bad and turned out good. Either way, I'm going to forgive the past and I'm going to let this moment be its new moment. Nothing in the past defines me of who I am right now, because right now I can choose something that's completely different than what I thought before, right? So if you thought something a certain way in the past and it made you think, oh, I'm a good person, I'm a bad person. If you thought it the same way you do now, maybe you'll still think that you're good or bad or whatever. But if you can let all that go, and I can choose something this moment for this moment, like from a place of love, then I don't need to attach any of those meanings and the attachments of different things in the past. I can let all that go so that I can free this moment. You know, nothing in the past, all your learnings and everything in the past is designed to be let go. The Course says, bring only loving thoughts from the past so that you can remember love now. And it also says, when we arrive at heaven's gates, we need to carry nothing with us. Not A Course in Miracles, not any of the ideas that we possibly could have had that gave us any perceptions. We get to drop everything, and God will show us how to walk in, take the last steps through the gates of heaven. Right? So that means all the stuff, even A Course in Miracles, all of this gets to be let go. Because we create meanings with it. Right? You get to let it go. Remember, love this moment. And this moment doesn't have to be like the last one. Right? If you never celebrated holidays, you never celebrated people. All right, well, let me go and celebrate somebody today. Right? Just begin. I'm going to, I don't like how I feel like I'm being right. Let me go do something different. Cool. Do it. Right? But just do it with purity of thoughts. Do it with love, do it with kindness and forgiveness and compassion, and see what shows up. Maybe more triggering stuff will show up and you're like, ooh, nice. Now I get to look at where love is not again. See, the Course says our goal isn't to find love. Our goal is to find all the blockages where we have put in the way of the experience of love, the experience of peace. Our goal is to let those things go, is to find those. That means we invite the triggers to come. We invite the teachers to come. And that's healing right there. Where I once thought of a trigger as bad and shame and whatever and judged it. Now I invite it to come because it's going to show me where I am not being loving. Where peace is not for me, I invite the triggers. I invite those teachers that bring those triggers to come. And now I've shifted my experience with them. And all of a sudden, healing starts to take place. And those teachers could show up in any form. It could look like a person. It could look like a situation. It could look like an event. It could look like anything. Something you see on Instagram, something you see on YouTube, whatever. Something that happens in a family function or a not family function or not having one, right? Like anything could be a lesson for you, but you want to invite the triggers in so that you may learn. You may learn, where did I put a wall up where the wall does not belong? So, hi. You're muted, but go ahead.
Oh, hi. I didn't really want to say anything. I just wanted to put my camera so, it's better. It's better. But I'm relating to what you're saying. I really, those inviting those triggers. I had one last night, and it's, I don't know, there's this person, in my life, and honestly, every time I'm about to break through something or go, move up, he gets so highly, he attacks me, and it's like, oh my God, I don't understand. I so many times, I cleared this with, just forgiveness and all. I'm like, okay, those are those emotions, whatever, it's not real, blah, blah, blah. And, it still brings up such, I don't know how to wrap, inside I still can't wrap my head around, I want people next to me who want my success, you know what I mean? Who feel capable of their own success, so they don't, I guess he thinks that, I feel like he doesn't feel like that about himself, that he's capable, and then he's afraid to lose me. He thinks that, so it triggers a huge him, but it makes me feel so sad. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish these feelings would just go away.
Yeah, you know, this is a very common thing. It's very common that, you know, when you're stepping into a greater version of yourself, it instills fear in the other person, right? That like, oh my God, right? I want her to be just like this with the wounds that she's always had so that I can be this, so I can have a sense of significance. But if she grows greater than that, then I don't know what my significance is, right? So that's one thing that shows up in relationships like that. Now, for you, right, because it's not about other people and how they should be, but the trigger that came up for you, you have to ask yourself, what am I trying to protect? What insecurities am I trying to protect for myself? What am I defending against? Because again, all he's saying is that you got a black shirt on when you got a beige tan shirt on. But there's no attack. It's like, okay, cool. You perceive it one way, I perceive another. Can you be the space of forgiveness and healing so that even though he's lashing out, that you don't see it that way and you don't participate in that way so that he may step into a new possibility now, right? But that's going to come for you. If you get triggered, then he thinks he's won. He's got something for it, you know, and you also get something for being triggered. So we got to recognize that this is a one-way street. You are trying to protect an identity of yourself or an imagined identity of yourself that you aren't in yet. So you aren't sure of who you are. You're like, I want to be this, you know, this great person already. I want to be this healer and influencer. And I'm talking about myself right now. And a great leader. And then someone goes, you're not the leader that you think you are. I'm like, what? And I get all my shit. And then, you know, I lose it and it's time for war, right? I'm going to show you that I am. Like, this is creating that conflict, but nothing really happened. Words were said. He said that I got a white shirt on. I'm like, no, I got a black shirt on. Let's fight. Like, what? That is just insanity. And so for all of us, anytime that we're triggered, it's like, okay, first, thank you for being my teacher right now. Okay. And like, truly, because we might even say these words, okay, you're my teacher right now, but we don't believe it. We're like, you're an idiot. Stop saying these things to me. But okay, thank you. You're my teacher. So we have to genuinely align our mind to our hearts, kind of. That's got to be the first part. And then, you know, accessing forgiveness, like, yeah, you know, thank you for bringing this up for me. You know, like you can turn any conversation, you can reframe it in a way that's going to bring up more love and more interconnectedness. If he triggers you, he is your teacher. Now, when you are in a place of extreme fear and guilt and attack, it doesn't serve you to be in a close proximity to somebody that creates that for you. Until you've healed it for yourself, you can do healing work apart from somebody. But if it's close, you know, and if you're committed to it, then you got to say, really, all right, this is my greatest teacher right now. And you might need to reflect on that minute after minute, 1,000 times a day until it becomes 500 times a day, 200 times a day, 50 times a day, 10 times a day, you know, but the work is a one-way direction. There's nothing that he needs to do. Nothing needs to happen besides the changing of my mind. See, the world does not need to be fixed. He does not need to be fixed. My perception around it gets to be fixed. Right. And on some level, we just got to look at, am I still blaming him for my triggers? Yeah.
You know what? I want to share this. Yesterday, what I realized, like, what it makes me. So when he attacks, every time that happens, it made me realize how it makes me feel. It makes me disbelieve that there are other people that, you know, do share in my success and do share happiness in my success. And, like, because it's been like a pattern where, like, there's, you know, certain types of people that they believe that if they keep someone like down, they make them feel insecure. And I realized, like, oh my God, it really makes me, like, it kills my space. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my God, it really does work. Like, and then I get discouraged and seeing everybody's like that. And then I don't have the belief to move forward. You know what I mean? And I just realized that yesterday. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's why they say on the first thing is who you surround yourself with. You know, you need to surround yourself with so you can get the ball rolling. But at some point, you can become immune to whatever people are saying around you and still move forward. Like right now, you need the right people around you to help you create and think like, okay, this is possible. All right, I can win. That's why cheerleaders, like people that are your cheerleaders in life, like I have people that are just that tell me like great things and you know about what I've said and this has changed their life. I'm like, oh my God, that's my like I want to be around those people. You know, like and where I'm at with like certain level of influence on social media, I get hate all the time. People literally will put in my comments that I should be put into jail. That because I said something around taxes, right? Like how I don't pay taxes. They're like, people like you should go to jail. I'm like, wow, okay. You know, and in the beginning, when that first started happening, I would go back and forth on the comments with somebody. And now I'm just like, it doesn't even phase me at all. It's the same exact process, just looking like it on different form. Right. Like I don't even, not even for a second does it take, maybe for like that, it kind of robs my peace and then it's gone. You know, when I see comments like that, you know, just hateful comments. And you know, I read something, somebody said something, and I'll get to you in a second, Jessica. I see your hand up. Somebody said like people will hate on you, one, because they haven't done what you've done, or they're envious of where you're going, and they're afraid to lose this other version of you, right? Because and it's not, and they may not even realize it. It's just in their mind, they have a picture of you. They don't want that to change because they want to be right about how they have you. Right. So that's one that's happening. But at the end of the day, you need do nothing. You don't need to participate in the conflict. That's what the course is saying. Even when that's happening, can I see spirit flowing through you? Can I see Christ consciousness through you? Like beyond the actions, because all of the words that he says, the way he's acting, it's an illusion. Can I look beyond the illusion? He's lost himself in this moment, and I'm about to lose myself if I participate in it. So let me look beyond it to the perfect being and the perfect spirit that's flowing through you, triggering me on purpose so that I may recognize something. So thank you, you know, and seeing that shining star. And then now you have a healing possibility. And that's the practice that you get to do. And it's not, and whoever he is for you, every one of us has it for something else, right? Somebody else, another situation, all of that. It's always going to trigger us. As long as we have a body and we live in this life, there is a sense when we aren't conscious, our egoic self starts to protect this image, identity of Alex, of this body. Right? What does it mean if I let my body go? What does it mean if I stop working out? What does it mean if I lose a deal? What does it mean if I, you know, upset people and whatever? Make up all this stuff to defend this body, this identity that I've been creating. And can I start to go beyond all of that? What's God's will in all of this? You know, what am I supposed to remember? And so as we use holidays like today to remember, yes, 10x, as we use today to remember the essence of our spirit, the essence of everybody's spirit, you know, that we are all innocent children of God. And then from that space, can I remember love? Can I remember peace? And let all my grievances go, because you have a grievance with this guy. And that's why you have this. It's always like this, right? Because it's not always like that. But because you have a grievance that you're holding on to, it's always like that in your mind. You know, so the vision of grievance you lose sight of the the vision of love and peace. All right, go ahead, Jessica.
Hey there. My share is about, I see a lot of people sharing about their dads, and it's about my dad. I lost my dad last year, and before that, the past 20 years, I call it him. He was in exile, so we had very little relationship. But somehow he moved down to Texas, somehow to be closer to me. And when I went over there, I knew that he had been in the service, for a brief amount of time in the Air Force way back. But he never ever spoke about his service or anything. We assumed he had been dishonorably discharged. This is how perceptions are, just because the type of man that he was. So when he had the accident, I went to Texas to see him on his deathbed. I found out through his new wife that not only was my dad he's not dishonorably discharged, but he was actually a veteran, and he had been in the Korean conflict. And to me, I was just mind blown, because I'm like, how in so many years my father never ever spoke about his service at all, anything. And I'm like, this can't be. And then he lasted a month. I went back for his funeral a month later. My dad was actually buried with full military honors there. And to me, it's just this thing about the projection makes perception. All these years, my perception of my dad, there's no way that I ever imagined him, to be a freaking war hero. And he never spoke about it and everything, never spoke about his service and everything. And it just shows how, when he said projection makes perception, I never saw him like that. And yet he was. I mean, they don't just give that to anybody. I know where he is. I actually saw it if I wouldn't have seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. And then, so today, for the first time, I'm 61 years old, for the first time, I just want to honor him. I don't know what he did, how he did it or whatever. He was only there a year and a half, but I just want to honor him for his service, and for what he did. I mean, yeah, he did something right. He did, he did sacrifice more than, for somebody other than himself. And that's something worth honoring. And again, Alex, thank you for your service, Alexander. All right. And all the veterans out there. I'm complete.
Yeah, and a lot of people come back from serving in the military. They don't want to talk about it because they don't think we can understand. Right? They can only talk about it with their service buddies because it was a different world. It's a different world. So can we, practice compassion? There are so many veterans out there living on the streets right now. And we don't think 2 seconds of them when we walk by them, right? Like it creates, when they are in their world disconnected from this world, the more they are disconnected, the more it seems like they have mental health disorder that they need help. But really, they just need to be seen. They need to be seen that, hey, we see you in this world. We honor the things that you've done. That it's a safe place to share, that we will be understanding, and it comes from each of us individually to take action to show that in the world and to inspire others. Every single time somebody is panhandling on the side of the street and that they're by my car and if they're by my car, I will take out money. I literally go and get change to have cash on me so that when that situation comes, I can give it. And when I give it, and it's funny because every single time that I open my window and hand money to them, somebody else does it. Somebody else does it right after. Every time. And then if I see someone else do it, it also kind of brings me to do it right after. So all of us are teachers no matter what. And it takes us doing something individually to actually create miracles in that moment. Because as we honor, people don't turn their backs in that moment. Something sparks in them to do something, to help. Right? Oh, somebody else is doing something good. Yeah, I'm inspired to do it. See, I want to be around people that inspire. And then I also want to inspire. I know within myself that I have the capability to inspire all those around me. But I have to deeply connect to the will of the universe, to the will of God. Because it's not up to me to inspire certain things. Because if I'm like, oh, I just want to inspire this, it's not up to me. God has given me certain talents and certain skills, certain interests, certain passions, so that I can inspire something specific that God wants me to do. And if I try to do it from my own small mind, those miracles and those inspirations will be misguided. But if I can live into the moment and allow the curriculum and the will of my life to unfold, then I will automatically be inspiring. And every one of us has that capacity. It's, can I open my channel enough to listen to what is being told to me in this moment? Can I listen and go and just, because I have an intuition to do something, I'm just going to do it. Right? On my last call, one inspiring moment was so small. It was just me moving my shoes from the bottom of the stairs. That was it. And I felt so inspired doing it because Love was coming down with like some stuff in her hands. And I was like, my shoe was right there and she wouldn't have seen it. And I just prevented a disaster. So proud of myself for listening to my intuition just by moving my shoes. Right? So we can find inspiration in everything. Anytime we can tap into listening to our intuitive self, we do it. Whether that looks like I'm going to take out $1 and go help this person, or I'm going to do something kind and be understanding, or just be thoughtful. You know, when we step out of this automatic robotic motion we're doing throughout the day, those are all inspiring. Littlest things, smallest little mundane things in our life can inspire ourselves and others. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be Gandhi and Mother Teresa like. It's just a little things throughout the day. You know, when somebody needed some words of acknowledgement, you sent it. When you think of somebody in your mind, send them a message. Hey, just thinking about you. I do it all the time. And you know, it's funny. I send somebody a message. I'm like, hey, you know, just thinking about you. Hey, what was the reason that you actually wrote something to me? Like there was like, I'm about to sell something, you know, and literally somebody on Instagram was like, hey, you know, I don't really have time if you're going to sell me on anything. I'm like, all right, well, you know, just wanted to say hi and not trying to sell you on anything. But there's just, you know, there's a lot of like auto defenses coming up. You know, like people are like not used to someone just reaching out of the blue. And I'm also guilty of that half the times, you know, because I get like 1,000 Instagram DMs a day also, you know, of people just like, hey, you know, awesome content, but hey, can I create this content for you? Can I help you, you know, make 3x your business? I'm like, oh my God, how many of these messages can I possibly get? Right? Because there's people are teaching people to do this these days. You know, they're like, okay, well, it's a numbers game. If you can close 1 out of 1,000, you're gonna make $500, 5,000 a month. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, but when I think about people, I will text them. You know, I will text them and be like, hey, just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, go ahead, Marlene. We're gonna take this one last question and then we'll start to close out this call.
Sounds good, Alex. Once again, thank you for being here, so consistent, and for sharing. I still have to say, every time I'm about to talk, now that and I want to speak it out, so one day, hopefully, it's not going to be a trigger for me anymore. But now that you are live in all social media, I think twice, 3 times. Sometimes I don't even speak in this call anymore because of that reason. So if you're holding anything inside of you guys because of the same silly reason, just don't do it. And right now I just feel, moved to share after listening to Jess. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing something so personal, close to your heart. I'm from El Salvador. Back in El Salvador, my father was also military, how can I say, like training. he went through 5 years of training actually. But there was something about my father that thankfully he never lost, and it was his temper. So unfortunately, he was not able to graduate, but that was in his heart. So when El Salvador had another silly war, if you ask me, I am just judgmental about wars, I have to say, with Honduras. And if you go to history, it was actually recorded as the soccer war. There was not such a thing. We were fighting for territory, right? So they went to war, and there was my father. That was in like they call it like reserve, I think. So he went to fight for basically, for our country in El Salvador. But my 2 older sisters already existed. So in my mind, as now as a wife and mother, I said to my mom, how did you forgive that? Forgave that, because I would have been terrified if anything would have happened to him, being a wife and mother. So just going back to that though, the thing is that it was in him. So even though, just like you always say, Alex, you have no interest in being a doctor. Likewise, by the way, I cannot see blood or any human fluids. But the same thing with me being a military. It's like I'm so sorry to say, but I already praying that none of my children wants to become or be part of that. And funny enough, my husband's father told Pacorno, like my husband wants our little one to go that route. I'm like, no, please no. So the thing is, whatever your side is, one thing I wanted to, and this is the main point that I wanted to make. Yesterday, as we were driving, because we're right now in the west coast of Florida, I saw something, someone in a wheelchair in the side of the street, and I said to my husband, how come we have become that society, me included, that we can see someone struggling that way? He was not wearing a shirt. He was clearly having a hard time. And he said, that there is a veteran assistant living right here, right? So it could be. I mean, we don't know. We were just talking about that. And then he shared with me something about one of his clients and how they are basically neglected. So it does hurt me, even though, once again, I'm against words. I don't understand that, right? I do believe that if countries would put all that money into something good, the world itself could change and shift. That's my maybe utopia thinking, but that's how I think. So he was telling me it's true. Once they come back and they have given basically sometimes their mental health, their physical health, we forget about them. So my point is, right now, whatever the reason that they go to and serve us, I want to honor and thank that, even if I don't understand it, But and also remembering and honoring my father and everybody who really feels that call inside of them. So, because of the holiday, I guess I just wanted to share that and thank all of them for doing so. And with the giving money, Alex, by the way, back in my country, I used to have cookies. I don't know if that would make sense for you or not, but especially for kids, because unfortunately in my country, you still see kids outside asking for money. So that's what I used to do. But when I came here, it's like all this judgment, right? Like, no. Here I only see adults. And if they really wanted to, they could get out of the street. That was my thinking, like, once again, the judgment behind that. In my country, it's okay to give to kids, but here it's not okay to give to adults. So, moving forward, I will give cookies based on what you shared. But thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. You know, there's one aspect of thinking like, yeah, if you can stand here all day in the heat asking for money, it's easier to go get a job, right? But it's just not their thinking. Like if they don't have that in their space, this is all they know to do, you know, and they don't have the means to get cleaned up enough to go get a job, and they probably don't have the discipline maybe to want to keep that job because they're disconnected from this world too, right? Like, oh, what does it mean? I have to show up every day like on time to do this, that. I don't know. I don't know what they're going through. But all I know is just one moment right here, right now, that I can do something to relieve a little tiny bit of temporary pain, and it costs $2, $5. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna send it with love, send it with no judgment, and do whatever you want with it. Yeah. And thank you for stepping up and sharing. I know you've been having this you know, you first come into this call, it's like, oh, there's other people, and then all of a sudden it's now shared live. You know, I had to deal with that. Like, oh my God, what are people gonna think? Like about God. I'm talking about spirituality and money, right? Like I was always okay to go live talking about real estate and things like that. But once it's about A Course in Miracles, I kept it in this like little ball for a while, you know, for 3.5 years. It's only recent that I started to do it live. And so many people have been saying, wow, it's so inspiring that you go live and talk about spirituality and God, you know, and money at the same time. And everybody's like, wow, those are two things that really need to come together. But nobody is outspoken about it, you know? So I don't know. I hope I just inspire more thoughts of faith and spirituality when people are conducting their everyday business, whatever it is that they're doing. Right. So, yeah, I've been very proud of this. I've been very proud of everybody that's been joining and speaking and sharing. You know, I know we need to get out of our comfort zone and share this takes us to a deeper level of conversation. People are like, never talk about politics, never talk about religion. It's like, all right, let's just keep it at the surface. Let's just talk about sports and weather all day. All right, like let's just talk about that all day. Yeah, so whatever, I'm gonna disturb the comfort and comfort that this disturbed. Right? Is that the saying? Disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. I don't know. Whatever. Something like that. Anyways, yeah, this will conclude our you know, Memorial Day weekend ACIM call. I thought the Mother's Day one was awesome. For those of you guys that attended, I think it's somewhere on the internet somewhere. In my Instagram somewhere, it's there. But yeah, this one I felt like was really great too. And so let's just read something, reflection from Marianne Williamson's on today, day 290. What's possible for you now? Okay, on the mortal plane, none of us are perfect all the time. But on the spiritual plane, all of us are perfect all the time. Who we really are, perfect creations of God, unchangeable and unlimited, none of us more or less brilliant than anyone else, is the most positive self concept possible. To identify yourself according to your spiritual rather than the material reality is enlightenment. Sasha, thank you. From this perspective, you see that you are the light. No thought or condition of darkness, that is, lack of love in your own mind or in anyone else's, has any bearing whatsoever on the truth of who you are and what the universe has planned for you. Your past, your mistakes, other people's opinions about you, even your failures, do not in any way limit who you are or what is possible for you now. What's possible for you now? So in honoring of Memorial Day weekend, let's remember that one thing. right? That we are all, no matter what mistakes, no matter what opinions, no matter what we have made and what others have made, we cannot be limited. And from that space, can we extend that out to all our brothers and sisters, everybody in the military, everyone not in the military, extend that love and that prayer out to everyone so that my mind be healed today and that I may heal humanity with just this one remembering. All right. So remember who you are today and remember who all your brothers and sisters are and what is your function in this world. To be the light. And so it is. Amen. Aho. I will see you guys on Wednesday or whenever. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you, Aiden.
Take care.